What's going on, everyone? Austin here, and yes, smile on the face, Ferrari hat on the head, because the Azerbaijan Grand Prix just happened, and today we're going to be reviewing it. We're going to look at the top 10, kind of talk about how their races went, and then we're going to talk about the driver standings and the team standings and where we see those going, especially with this week coming up, the Miami Grand Prix. And then we're going to talk about some crazy things that happened during the Azerbaijan Grand Prix and Ocon's, near miss with some media personalities, media people in the pit lane going in for his last stop. So stay tuned because you don't want to miss that. Before we dive into it, please consider subscribing to the channel. You're going to have kind of pre-race and post-race videos coming out, as long as some fun things and just kind of my F1 thoughts as we go throughout the season. Now let's get right into it. So taking a look at the top 10, I'm really happy for Perez. I think that he crushed it the entire race. Him and Max, the pace throughout the entire race was very, very similar. Now, yes, Perez did get pretty lucky with safety car and having stayed out, not pitted until the safety car. And of course, Max pitted before the safety car. So, he lost some extra time. But I will say overall, Perez did a phenomenal job. He's showing why he, has won Baku twice, the only person to have won Baku twice, as well as being, the street circuit king that he is. So really incredible job from him. Max came in second. Again, the Red Bulls are just in such a league of their own, and I don't see this changing until, 2026 when the new rules and regulations come in. So there's that. Now, here's why Ferrari hat's on today, because Leclerc and Ferrari in general really came out big. They were able to figure something out. I'm not 100% sure what they did, but they made big improvements, as we'll see in a second. Stay tuned for the points from last race in Australia to this race. I mean, Leclerc went from, I think, 10th to, up there. All right, we'll take a look at it in a sec. So great job for Leclerc. I bet if there were a few more laps, Alonso would have passed him. But hey, maybe Ferrari's finally getting that strategy down, because they haven't in the past. And then Alonso in fourth, he drove a really solid race. It's just, Ferrari's back up there kind of like they were last season. And I think you'll see them kind of hopefully be up here more often than not. Now, Sainz, again, like last season, who came in fifth, he just doesn't have the pace and, I don't know, the aggressiveness, the speed that Leclerc is able to get out of that car. So I'm sure that's something he's been working on and trying to work with Ferrari. So fingers crossed they'll be able to do something there. Before I go any further, please leave a comment letting me know what you all thought of the race. I know a lot of people were saying it was boring. A lot of people were saying that, it's still interesting. They still got at least an F1 race was on. So please leave a comment. I want to hear what you thought about it. Now going into 6, you have Hamilton. Hamilton's been, solid. You could tell he's getting a lot out of the car, the most out of the car he's able to. But again, that Mercedes car, they're still trying to tinker with it and figure it out. They just haven't been able to make, what they want to happen. So Hamilton, really solid drive from him. Stroll and Russell behind. Anything below here, they kind of were in that order and didn't really move. I feel like I don't know the stats on it, but I feel like there weren't too many overtakes going throughout this. Even with a huge, DRS strip, the car's, miles per hour for the American people, but, an Alpine hit, I think, 214 miles per hour, which, just absolutely insane. As you will see, no Alpines in the top 10, which I know that's a really disappointing race weekend for them. But Norris, I will say, the McLarens probably get the most improved award. Either them or the Ferraris get the most improved award. I know that McLaren really, they brought a ton of upgrades, and it showed off. They got some points. So that's what they wanted. Both cars looked more comfortable on the track. And hopefully Piastri is able to, just continue getting reps in the F1 car and, able to make something happen here at McLaren. Remember the old drama that went on with him and Alpine. So I hope he's not regretting that decision. But, best of luck to him. Shout out to McLaren for, bringing those upgrades, and hopefully they can continue to do so throughout the season. Remember, just a few years ago, they were competing for third place. Now they're really, really far off, but we'll see if they can get back up there. And then rounding out the top 10, Sonoda, shout out to Yuki. De Vries is having the worst luck ever. he had to retire the car. So Tsunoda's really having to carry that team on the back so far this early in the season. And, he's with the car that they have, I feel like he's doing a decent job. So shout out to Tsunoda for picking up a point there. Good for him. Now we're going to move on to where the drivers are in the standings. And we'll look at the difference between where they were after the Australian Grand Prix and now where they are after the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And then remember, stick around for Ocon's, little mayhem mishap that happened. We'll be taking a look at that shortly. Okay, so I'll put up the, driver standings here. Verstappen's still in first. However, you can see that Perez has definitely closed that gap. And I think if Perez is, I would love to see, could you imagine a Perez upset? Could you imagine how incredible that would be for the sport of F1 and for Red Bull? I think that'd be pretty great. So really rooting for Perez. He's definitely closed the gap, and honestly, I think he'll continue to, especially with Miami coming up, another street circuit. Perez is, he's lethal, man. So you still have Alonso in third and Hamilton in fourth, really just making solid points, solid gains, really doing right by their teams. I don't see anyone being upset with that. Then Sainz is still in, fifth now? So, Sainz has definitely been more consistent than Leclerc, but it's just the car troubles. You can't really do too much about that. So I definitely see Leclerc. You see how he moved from 10th into 6th. I definitely see Leclerc passing Sainz. And if Ferrari's able to keep up the pace that they had in Azerbaijan, I see them passing Mercedes. I see Leclerc passing Hamilton, and honestly, maybe even Alonso, but I think that'll depend more on strategy, not so much the car. Whichever team has the best race strategy, that's what I see happening between Aston Martin and Ferrari. So Leclerc made a huge jump from 10th to 6th. Russell was able to pass Stroll, which is big. I think if Russell, I don't know, I feel like he had a lackluster race in Azerbaijan, so we'll see if he's able to piece the, pieces back together, because he really has been getting a lot out of the car. So this was just a setback. Maybe he'll be able to get back to where he thinks he should be. I still see Hamilton beating him. I think Stroll and Russell are going to be going back and forth for a lot of the season. So then after Russell, you have Stroll in 27th. He went back a few places, which I'm sure he's not happy about. But, again, he still did score some points for the team. You have Norris in 9th with 10 points. He got 2 points at Azerbaijan. And I think as long as he's able to keep getting at least some points in that car, McLaren's going to be happy with him. We know McLaren threw everything into Lando, and I don't see them looking back. And then, Hülkenberg didn't get any more points. But, hey, he's still in the top 10 on points for Haas. So, what more does Haas want, right? With the car that they have. And, they have a decent driver lineup. I really believe that. I know Magnussen, we saw last year, can get great things out of the car. But Hülkenberg's really been on a tear. He and Ocon actually had the same race strategy of starting on hards and then going the entire race. I think Hülkenberg pitted to change tires, with 4 laps to go. Ocon waited until the last lap. I think he said that he forgot about it, which is kind of insane. But again, we're going to be getting to that in just one sec. We're going to take a look at the team standings and to see if anything's really changed or what we can expect going forward with the team standings. So the team standings after the Azerbaijan Grand Prix weekend, with the sprint race points included, Red Bull, league of their own, that's not going to change. Aston Martin, I think, will stay in front of Mercedes, but Ferrari will pass Mercedes. I have no doubt about that. Maybe even as soon as the, Miami this next weekend. That's bold prediction. Keep that in mind. All right. McLaren in 14, there's such a big drop off after the first 4 teams with, Ferrari has 62 points, then boom, it goes all the way down to McLaren, with 14 points. I think that, I was asked by someone, kind of who the worst team is. The worst team here, as you can see by the points, whoever is not having a good day. You have the top 4 teams. You have the top team, Red Bull, then 3 teams that are all in the mix, and then the rest of the teams where anything can happen on any day. you don't know where they're going to finish. It all depends on strategy and luck and the driver's talent, you know. But I think all those cars are in the mix to be towards the bottom there. So here you have the team standings. Now, without further ado, let's get into Ocon's mishap, Alpine's mishap. This will really have to, change here. Something will be investigated, I guarantee it, but let's take a look at what happened. Okay, so let me paint the picture. Again, Ocon had a strategy during the race, starting on hards. It's only a 51 lap race, and so he's going to start on hards, basically go for as long as he could, as long as those tires would allow him to, and then he would make a pit stop because everybody has to make at least one pit stop. So Ocon, the race is going on. Oh, shoot, it's lap 50 and you haven't pitted yet. So, the race is basically over. Perez is basically about to cross the line and finish his race when Ocon goes, all right, well, we need to pit. Alpine goes, all right, well, we need to pit, or else I think you're DQ'd, but I'm not 100% sure. So here's what happens. I'm not going to be able to play this whole video for you, but I'll click through it and you'll basically see kind of like frame by frame what all was going on, and we'll talk through it. So here you can see Ocon going, and he's going to be entering the pit lane very, very shortly. Here you see he veers off into the pit lane. He's going. And one thing to note is that this pit lane, you can see how it curves, right? So it'll curve to the right and then go back to the left and then straight. So he's going. He made that right turn. Now he has to go back to the left. So he's blind. He doesn't see what's going on to the left. He's just trusting that, since the race is still going on, that pit lane is empty. But we see as he turns, this right here, it's all people. It's all media, I guess, photographers, videographers that are going to be getting ready for the podium celebration, wanting to get a good spot. But you can see right here, they're all lined up. You can see right now, Ocon is in third gear, going into the pit lane. You can still see all of those people are just right in the middle of the pit lane. Ocon has nowhere to go. And I will note, if you watch the video, you can go to ESPN F1, their Instagram account, which is where you can find this video. He does not seem to slow down all that much, I gotta be honest with you. So I don't know what is going through his head. I would have stood on the brakes. But you can see everyone's still there, and I'm sure by this time someone goes, oh shit, we got to get out of here. So, he's still going, drops it into this pit lane mode, pit lane activated where it limits the speed, and you can see everyone right here still in the middle of these white lines taking up the lane, because I guess they thought, oh, well, the race is over. Obviously everyone pitted, but I don't know. On short races like this, leave a comment. Is it worth it to have someone there whose whole job is kind of check off, make sure everybody's, already pitted, have everyone's GPS pulled up to see where they're going, or should just people wait until the race is officially over to, go about out on the track and that kind of stuff? So he's still going down, and you can see people start to run over on the left. Here people are scrambling. Ocon eventually turns his wheel right there a little to the right. People are really rushing. It was, oh man, the commentators were freaking out, because that could have been awful. So you see he's turning to the right. People are running still in the line this close, to being hit by Ocon. He goes to the right again. He doesn't really slow down, which, dude, I know you got to make this pit stop, get back out on the race, but you got people right in front of you. However, you can see everyone is aware and moving to the right, and he finally, is able to get past everybody. That is so close. Yeah, and then he makes his pit stop and finishes up the race, and it is what it is. But now, is everyone kind of overreacting to this? I, again, want to hear what you think. Is it an overreaction, or is that a valid concern? Something went wrong? It's funny. The top comments are all stuff saying how, back in my day, there was no speed limits or in the pit lane or anything like that. So, but safety is important, seriously, when it comes to the sport. So I want to know what you all think about that. But my overall review of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, was it the most interesting thing in the world? No. It was a great day for Ferrari, though, and, at least F1 is on. That's what we care about. At least F1 is on, and I can't wait for the Miami Grand Prix coming up. So subscribe if you're not already. It would mean the world. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you next weekend. Until next time.